You got into this work because you love children. You wanted to be part of their earliest years, the bit that shapes everything, everything that comes after. And you are. Every single day you turn up. But here's what nobody told you when you stepped into a leadership role. In education, you'd be carrying the weight of a team who also have lives and limits of their own. You're going to be navigating parent conversations that take something out of you, even when they go well. And you'd be watching the needs of the children in your care because they're becoming more and more complex, aren't they? Well, the outside support that used to exist has quietly disappeared. And if you are exhausted right now, if you're holding it together on the outside while running on empty on the inside, I want you to hear this. It's not weakness. That's what happens when someone who cares deeply has been given too much to carry without enough support. My name's Rowena Hicks. I spent over 30 years in education, first as a teacher, Senko, and then deputy head. I loved all my roles, but I burnt out in 2022. So I'm now an accredited coach, author, and I work with nursery leaders and education leaders across the country. So let's talk about what actually is going on and what helps. The children coming through the doors of early years right now have more complex needs than ever before. Speech and language delays, social and emotional needs, developmental differences. A few years ago, you might have got specialist support with all of these children. But that support, the early intervention teams, the advisory services, the specialists you could once pick up the phone to, that's been reduced, cut, or replaced with waiting lists. And those lists are so long they feel unreal. So your nursery, your earlier settings, you hold it. The system has shifted the burden onto the people closest to the children without shifting the resources to match. And I want to say that clearly because too many leaders who I work with are quietly blaming themselves for not managing it perfectly. But you're not failing. You're currently being asked to do something that was never designed to be done by one small team with a small budget and without backup. Naming that matters. Not so you feel helpless, but so you stop adding guilt to an already full workload. Now, let's talk about your team, because this is where I want to spend some time. One of the nursery leaders I coach said something to me recently that I keep coming back to. She was describing what makes her feel valued in her own role. And she said to me, when I bring something to my manager and they actually do something about it, that's when I feel seen. Not just listened to, seen. And when they check in on me, not just talk about targets, just ask how I'm doing. That changes everything. I found that so powerful because the things she described aren't complicated. They don't cost money. They don't require a new policy or a whole staff training day. They just require someone to pay attention. You are that person for your team, whatever your role. The leaders I coach who do this consistently, who check in genuinely, who follow through with their staff, they raise something. They make it clear to their team that they matter. They have teams that are more resilient, more committed, and less likely to leave. Think about one person on your team right now. When did you last ask, how are you? Properly, not in passing. When did you last act on something they raised and then close the loop? Those small, steady acts of attention are not small. They're the foundation of a team that stays. And I want to hold the other side of this too, because managing a team isn't always straightforward. Sometimes there's someone who doesn't quite pull their weight, right? That person who doesn't see what needs doing, who makes your day that is stretched even harder. The most helpful thing I've found? Clarity is kindness. Most people aren't opting out on purpose. They're working to the standard they've been allowed to work to. A calm, direct, specific conversation about what you need changes things more often than you'd expect. So here's what I want to leave you with. The exhaustion you're feeling makes complete sense, but it is not inevitable, and it doesn't have to be permanent. You can't lead well from empty. Protecting your own energy is not selfishness. It's what allows you to keep showing up for the people who need you. Your team needs clarity from you on expectations, on what good looks like, on the fact that you see them, and the small things, checking in, following through, paying attention, are the things that build the kind of team culture that gets you through the hard seasons. If this resonated with you, I'd love to know. Drop a comment below and tell me the biggest challenge you are navigating in your nursery or your early years setting right now. I read all the comments, and it shapes everything I make for you, all that I do. If you found this helpful, share it with another nursery leader who needs to hear it. You might not know how much they need it today.